Welcome. Roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Peng.
Here.
Mr. Romano.
Here.
Mr. Shi.
Here.
Ms. White.
Here.
Mr. Mohan Patel.
Present.
Mr. Brawl Patel.
Here.
Mr. Schneider.
Here.
Mr. Rivera.
Here.
Mr. Vishal Patel.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Opening statement?
Yes, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Public Law 1975, C 231 Sunshine Law. Copies of this public meeting notice were sent to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger on January 23rd, 2023. Members of the public may participate at regular meetings in accordance with the bylaws of the board and applicable state regulations.
Thank you. Dr. Adorelli, your
Great.
report.
Great, thank you, Board President Peng. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope all is well. Before I begin with the superintendent's report, I just wanted to say a few words. I know that I'm sure most of you are aware that the tragic fire that affected the residents on Waterford Drive here, some of which were our very own students and families here in Edison Township Public Schools. The district's response to this ordeal was extremely impressive. We were able to provide the families with, much-needed services, school supplies, clothing drives. Our staff and Board of Education members played an integral role in this support, from our guidance department, Dr. Brumgard, from our building level administration. I know that, Ms. Schlatter over at Washington School, Mr. Ross, Ms. Endon, I believe Ms. Himmelstein as well, too, all responsible for, even in certain cases, driving around and dropping off supplies. Our enrollment department with Mr. Benedict did an absolutely wonderful job in, coordinating information with agencies to kind of trigger some of the supports that are available to these students. Our attendance office, Ms. Dora Ramos, who's the liaison between, this organization and the community, always does a wonderful job and always willing to lend a helping hand. From our support staff to our teachers, to our associations who've, collected money and provided donations in the form of gift cards, to the Board of Education that also lent financial support and committed that way. So I really just wanted to not only commend the efforts, and it really shows the commitment that this community has, during a time of tragedy, how everybody rallies together and supports those in need. So I want to thank everybody for their efforts in that capacity. Second thing is something to highlight. We had a really successful job fair this week. An opportunity. I think we had about 160 potential candidates register, and maybe about 20 walk-ins. So just shy of about 200 people. In the time of a teacher shortage, I think that's really impressive. We had an unbelievable applicant pool. So we are looking to move forward in hiring qualified candidates, getting them onboarded so that we are ahead of the curve here. Special thanks to Ms. Patel in the Human Resources Department who really spearheaded it, along with all the building administration and support staff that contributed to the operation of it. It really was a wonderful event to be a part of. So I wanted to just highlight those pieces. I know that was a real part of, great part of the week. And now moving forward to the resolutions.
Eddie, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did we find any foreign language teachers?
We found a bunch of them. And we are onboarding them quickly. So they didn't make this agenda, but we're hoping to put them on for May 3rd. So.
All right, awesome.
Yep.
Thank you,
Great.
sir.
You got it.
So Eddie, roughly how many teachers did we hire?
Depends. So, that number's hard to pin because you've got retirements, maternity leaves, things along those lines. But from a vacancy perspective, we would look, somewhere in the ballpark of about 5 or 6 world language teachers. That would be somewhere between, Spanish and French. I think it was 4 and 2. We're looking at special education teachers at both the middle and the high school level, which are tough to find. We have some really good applicants for that because they need to have 2 certifications. We have a few vacancies at the elementary level. That's always, contingent upon enrollment in kindergarten, which we began actively monitoring last week. I got a meeting tomorrow morning with both chief academic officers as well as Mr. Benedict to make sure that, we're on top of that and monitoring those numbers. That's another piece, though, too, for those parents that are watching this currently right now. You can actively enroll your child in kindergarten online. If you have any trouble doing that, please don't hesitate to call the enrollment department. Or any members of the sending school. The secretaries would be more than happy to put you in the right direction. So,
Cool.
yeah,
Thank you.
Great, you got it. First resolution, actually, I'm going to combine two of them because it highlights two groups of people that are really the backbone of the organization, kind of where the rubber meets the road, and that's our school nurses and teacher appreciation. We celebrate those staff members in the beginning of May. We like to think that we celebrate them each and every single day. I mean, the work that they do really supports what we do as an organization, from a leadership team and a board of education, from our support staff to the people that get them to and from, to the individuals that are maintaining our schools each and every single day. That week, and the resolution is just a small tidbit of our appreciation, but I think I speak on behalf of the entire leadership team and the Board of Education. We thank you so much for the service that you have here for our students, and we appreciate what you do each and every day. So congratulations. You should be commended for the work that you do, and I thank you. The next resolution is the much-anticipated revisions to this year's calendar and meeting dates. The anticipated utilization of both of our inclement weather days, which we were fortunate enough not to use. The next is going to be our annual improvement of our district safety team. And lastly is the approval of the second reading of a policy of sustainability, which just really unlocks some funding, allows us to apply for grants and supports that some of our neediest students need. And it's a really wonderful piece. And I want to thank our grant supervisors, as well as Dr. Falco, who's the vice principal over at TJ. He's doing a really great job in kind of promoting these types of programs and making us aware and access to the funding, so greatly appreciated. And moving right along, we have curriculum and instruction report. Begins with just the reapproval of one of our programmings. We have our approval of our field trips that are going out. My compliments to our transportation department, which also helped tremendously with those people that were affected by the fire. I would be remiss if I didn't mention their efforts in that area. But they've been doing a wonderful job in covering field trips, both in-house as well as our contracted routes. I'm hoping that parents and community members, as well as teachers and administrators, are seeing the great improvement that we all are as well, too. This is a work in progress, and we're looking forward to a smooth September. So I thank Mr. Guillen and his team. Lastly, part of that is our professional development, which are just the opportunities to enrich our professional understanding on pedagogy, on leadership strategies for our groups. Our final resolution and conclusion of my portion of the resolutions is our pupil special services, and those are just the out-of-district placement students for our special needs population. And I will now turn it over to...
Thank you, Dr. Adderley. John, PA report, please.
Yes, for the financial reports, we have item 1, which is traditional. We have our bills list and, monthly transfers, et cetera, et cetera. We also have the FY22 audit report. Findings are there. There's about 6, which we are taking corrective action on. Good news is, though, we have a unmodified audit opinion, which is the highest level of attestation you can get, so that's good news. And we'll have a presentation on Tuesday night. Resolution 2 is bids. 3 is competitive contracts. 4 is our general contracts. Item 5 is we're accepting grants and various donations. 6 is our facilities and change orders. We have 1 change order at the athletic project at JPS on the field, I believe, for some conduit and electrical rerun. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Calabas, that's correct. All right. Item 7 is our non-public programs report for the acceptance of non-public funding. And item 8 is the traditional transportation report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to...
Madam President?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Shi.
Okay. Quick question. Mr. Tost, can you elaborate why the Herbert Hoover resolution is blank?
Oh, yes, that's a great question, Mr. Shi. So we had to delay the bid by a couple of days. I think it was about 2. We had to put out a clarification. There was some information that the architect needed to get out with regards to structural steel and some masonry, but with all hope that it comes back within bid. We'll be making award Tuesday night. Bids come back tomorrow. Exciting stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? If no, board, should we vote? No. Board member open discussion? Anybody?
Madam President,
Yeah.
before we start, can you talk a little bit about the superintendent search?
Oh, yes, so I believe everybody has received or see the link to the survey. So the search firm has met with the personnel committee. We constructed we went over and constructed the survey content, and it was posted on our school district website. It's going to be totally independent, as far as I understand. It's, the survey result is going to be handled by the search firm. And that's the first step. And then after that, we are going to, based on all the stakeholders' input, we're going to construct a profile for the superintendent and the job description and start posting. So that's where it is at now. And we will keep you posted on the process.
When are the results going to be back?
The survey result?
Yeah.
I think we asked for at least 2 to 3 weeks
Okay.
to give everybody enough time. I know everybody just came back from spring break, so that should be enough time. Other questions?
And also, board members, you have all received individual emails that the search firm wants to talk to us about, what do you like to see about the superintendent, right? So,
We have not received the
you didn't receive
We
it?
haven't.
No, I didn't receive the email.
Oh,
Yeah,
I will
haven't
double
received
check.
it
I
either.
don't think I received it either, so we will double check with the,
oh, I got it. Joe
You
got
got
it. Yeah. Okay, so we'll make sure that they send to, because
Yep.
that's part of the process. We are the stakeholders.
But nonetheless, it's an awesome idea to collect feedback and suggestions from all the board members and residents to come up with the profile. That's amazing.
yeah, and, I just want to encourage everybody, get your input in. And we are going to host, I think, meetings. The search firm will be at
They will
schools,
host, yeah.
hosting meetings, meet in person with every, teacher, staff, students, whoever wants to give input.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Board member, open discussion? Anybody?
Yes, I'll go first.
Mr. Bureau.
So, Dr. Eldrali, thank you so much for helping out the residents of the Waterford. That was very helpful, and everything that we can do from our end, please let us know. Thank you.
Madam President?
Mr. Shi?
Yeah, can I just elaborate a little bit? So, I went to the township when we had the meeting with the residents. There were 4 staff members there. We had 2 tables. I tried to do whatever we can to help them. There was a suggestion that the school would try to help each family with certain monetary donations. And Dr. Ararelli was really quick on that action. And the $250 from each family members, each family, which they have kids in the school district. And also, I'd like to thank all the unions in our district. Dr. Ararelli contacted them. They quickly came back, and they all participated in monetary donation to all these families. So it's a true community get-together to help the family in needs. And I saw Bureau collecting clothes and stuff. Thank you for what you're doing. With that said, I just want to have my common questions. So for students who goes to private schools, we give them money in lieu of transportation. I think right now it's about $1,000 a year.
Correct,
And
yep.
we send a check in 2 batches. So some of the families is asking when the first check is going to go out. I know the last one goes, towards the end of the school year.
Great.
Yeah.
Take that?
Yeah.
I know a lot of the first payments have gone out, Mr. Shi. There
Already? Okay.
There could be instances where we need to get back what's called the B8. It's a certification from the private school that the student was there for the first half of the year. Once we're able to get that back from that specific private school, we're able to issue payment. But I know members of my staff, Miss Betsy, we've been sending out a lot of the payments as those B8s come in.
Recently, or
We started sending them out, I believe, in February.
February, okay.
Yeah.
And
And
the second batch, Mr. Toth, the
Second
final
ra-
one is June?
Second round goes out usually at the end of June, early July.
Okay.
But we are at the mercy because parents give us the B6 when they go through the application process, and then we send the B8 to the schools in order for them to certify. But without the certification, we'll call, the transportation officer will call and hound the privates. Please send us back the signed form so we can issue payment on the POs.
Okay.
But we're on it.
All right, so the family, if they have not received it, either contact their local private school or.
Absolutely, and
yeah.
they can always contact the transportation office. We're more than willing to help. We want to make sure people.
Yeah,
get
because I
to
know a
them.
couple of parents, they created help desk cases. I hope that with the new staff coming in, they can start looking at those help desk cases.
Sure,
For the
absolutely.
transportation.
Not a problem.
Okay. The other thing is about the new calendar. Right now, it's on the district website.
It is.
But it's still not downloadable.
We will make sure that we're good, Mr. Barker? Yeah?
It's
Maybe-
only one choice. It's only one choice. I don't have.
So if you download one, you've downloaded the other.
Oh, okay.
Jesus, Ralph, you're forward thinking.
Mr. Barker's top notch.
Oh, okay, but they were listed in two separate places. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's it.
Okay. Anybody else?
Um,
Oh, Mr. Rivera.
I just want two comments and then a question. I just want to recognize National School Nurse Week and Teacher Appreciation Week. You have no idea the impact that you have on our children, and especially mine. My child frequents the nurse's office at least once a week, so thank you guys again. And another thing just dawned to me when we were talking about the foreign language teachers. I know we were looking for the five or six foreign language teachers because we were switching to an 8-period day. Are we switching to an 8-period day? Because I saw an email saying that we're restoring an AB schedule. I thought it was an 8-period day.
Now, the middle school schedule is going to be an 8-period schedule. It's going to, it'll be an 8-period schedule. Students are going to have the opportunity to engage in foreign language.
So it's
in
not
a
an
more
AB,
robust-
right?
No, it's not
No.
AB.
All right, I just want to clarify that. All right, thank you.
Anybody else? No? Okay. I just want to echo what Mr. Shi said. I want to thank Dr. Adderley, our administration, and all the unions for all you did in the emergency like this, like the fire. And it really shows how united our community is, and we're here when they need us. So that's really great job. Thank you. What else? So that's public comments. Let's start. Anyone? Yeah, please. Yeah, public comments. Yes, go
Yes.
ahead, to the podium. Name, please.
Don't worry, it's good stuff.
Your name, please.
My name is Tony Yeager, and I am an Edison resident. I'm here to, I try to get here every year for this, but Edison hosts an organization that I've been involved with for 20 years. It's known as the Science Olympiad. It's held at Middlesex County College. This year it was held on the 16th of March. We had 800 kids. We had 48 schools, and they competed. Edison High was there. J.P. Stevens was there. This was the state. They're competing for the state championship. Prior to that, they met they go through the regionals. The regionals were held in January, and they were held in, the southern regional was in Camden, the central region was in Cranford, the northern region was in JIT. The best of those regions meet for the state. JP and Edison High were in the central regions, and they qualified to meet at the state. Okay, so now we're at the state. The best in the state goes on to, in May, to compete for the national, and they'll compete against 49 other states. What's in it for them? Grants, money, scholarships, good stuff. What I would like to acknowledge is it's a lot of work. You've got to be in my shoes to see how much work that these students go through. They compete in over 20 different disciplines. You name it, it's one of the disciplines, from physics to chemistry to forensics to robotics. It just goes on and on and on and on. Have you heard of this event? We do it every year.
Yes.
We do it every year. I'd like to just thank like some of the people that really put their heart and soul into it, like Edison High, we got Charlie Ross, and I got to find out who just a minute. There's a head coach that takes care of all the coaches. Her name is Kruti Singe, or his name is Kruti Singe. He's the head coach for the Science Olympiad. J.P. Stevens, I'd like to thank Meredith Quick. She, and especially her secretary, Mrs. LaRosa, they get involved. They get involved. With so much going on, and yet these kids really get involved, and they put their heart and soul into it. This year, in the state events of all the schools that were there, Edison High came in number 11, and J.P. Stevens came in number 7. That is nothing to sneeze at. If you see what the work that these kids do, plus the other stuff that they do, it is mind-boggling, and the kids enjoy it. The events start at like 9:30 in the morning, and they go on until 3:30, and all they're doing is competing. Teams of about 15, but it's 800. That's divided in half, because half are middle schools. The other half are high schools. And that's what you get. You get the cream of the crop in all these high schools that compete in here, because they're getting whittled down by the time they get to the state. And yet, we have Edison there, and the kids are great. J.P. Stevens, the kids are great. Very polite, wonderful kids. I enjoy doing it. I have been quitting every year for 20 years, and it's work. It is work. But I keep coming back. I enjoy the kids. I have so much fun with the kids. My expertise is in chemistry. I'm a chemist. And that's what I enjoy doing with the kids. And they come in with their little white lab coats on, and they just have a ball. It's great fun. I love sharing this with you. I try to share this with you every year, but babysitting takes over. And so, but I had to come out this year because Edison High, Charlie, I mean, he's just wonderful with his students, and so is Meredith with her students. And I guess that's if anybody wants to ask me any questions about the Science Olympiad. No?
Board President?
No, just, I'm a chemistry major too, so
I'm sorry?
I didn't hear this, I didn't hear about this before. I'm a chemistry major too, myself, so, yeah. Next year, if we know, a little bit in advance, I would love to be there and cheer for the kids. It will be, it'll be fun.
We're talking, we take over the campus, we have 800 kids.
Yeah.
And that's divided in half, 400, 400 each. That's teams of 15 doing this. And each team is like 2. So if you're doing forensics, you got 2 kids. If you're doing geology, you got 2 kids, and competing within these competitions. But the kids are polite, great kids, wonderful. I enjoy it. It takes me 4 days to recover. And in those 4 days, I vow never to do this again. It's been 20 years, and yet I just love working with the kids. They just do an outstanding job. And the 2 principals, too. I mean, there's so much that they're doing. The number 1 schools, the schools that always come in 1, are practicing now for next year. But I don't know what's on their plate, but I know that they're preparing because there's money to be had. There's scholarships. The hosting university this year for the nationals will be Wichita State. In the past, we've had Princeton, we've had Rider, we've had my favorite, University of Wisconsin. We've had a lot of all over the country hosting university. Hosting university supplies the scholarships and grants and the money for just having us there, that kind of stuff. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me.
Oh,
I could talk to your ear off all
Thank
day.
you. That's all right. We could listen all day. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
These kids
Wonderful.
are these kids
Appreciate
are
it.
wonderful. They really, really are. You should be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr.
you
Eckert,
for
thank
your
you so
work.
much for your service and providing that
Absolutely.
Well,
guidance.
I get paid.
Yes,
They
good.
pay me. I get a T-shirt and a sandwich.
That's the best. That's the best. We get paid here too.
Similar as our
Bottle of
board
water is
members.
perfect. Thank you so much.
My kids used to go to the Science Olympiad when they were in the high school, both kids. So good event. I even went there before to watch. So thank you for the service.
So do we only have just high school kids attending, or do we have our middle schools participating in this?
Middle school too.
Because maybe we could create some type of feeder program where will jump up to 1 and 2 next year.
That's a very good question. What the gentleman is talking about is the middle school. The top school in the state has a feeder school that brings the kids into their high school. That's the middle school. So they have a middle school in which these kids are practicing for 4 years to get to
Yeah.
the high school. And once they go to high school, they're primed. They know everything. They know where it is and what to do. This is me speaking. And, because I've seen this, I know what they're doing. And that's not shortchanging, because if you look at the top schools, you see that the middle school's in there. For me to go to Herbert Hoover, I'm too tired for all this. But if you
We
have
have a
feeder
chemistry
school-
major.
What's this?
We have a chemistry major.
It's work. If you take on the middle school, I'd love to do that. Herbert Hoover, there was a young lady over there, many years ago, Mr. Ross gave me a teacher. He says, pick a teacher, and I picked a guy named Brian Murtaugh.
Yeah.
And Brian says to me, before I compete, let me run an event to see what I'm jumping into. He did forensics, and he is good at it. I don't know where he is now. I think he's somewhere in another school system, but he is very good at it. And I know his wife works at the middle school. And I've thought about, can you drag the middle school in as a feeder school for the high schools? And I says, it's work. It's work. But the gentleman is correct. There are middle school competitions, and then they go on to the high school competitions, and they bring all that knowledge with them for the competition.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just thinking, this kind of things you got to start early, start the interest, start the practice. Now that with the 8 period in our middle school, so maybe we can start some kind of science club or science, competition in our middle school. That's why we can get students started
Absolutely.
early.
Great idea. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Feeder systems, telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mentorship. Excellent.
Any other public comments? See now, we can adjourn to the, you have a,
Do we have to motion?
Yes.
yeah, motion to adjourn to the privilege session,
Motion.
closed session.
Second.
Second.
Okay,
All in
we
favor?
are,
Does he need to read it?
oh, where's my name?
It's on the second page, Shan. Do you have?
Oh, she has to read it.
Oh,
okay.
yes. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, PL 1975 C231, Sunshine Law. Copies of the public meeting notice were sent to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger on January 3rd.
That's the other one.
This is not the one.
It's not the right one.
Where's my reading then?
Third page.
This one? Oh, okay. Okay. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, adjourned to the confidential session for the purpose of discussing confidential student matters, personnel matters, health insurance contract dispute, acting superintendent's contract, former staff and students litigations.
Did we miss something about the land purchase? Can I have a motion to add land purchase as part of discussion?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so John.
Yeah, let's do a roll call.
Yes.
Give me 1 second. Just drop
He's
land
getting it
purchase.
ready.
You just add a discussion
Add a-
point.
Yep.
Land purchase.
Mr. Vishal Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Mr. Baral Patel,
Yes.
Mr. Moen Patel,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes,
oh, Miss White, I'm sorry.
actually. I knew who you were talking about.
Miss Shi, oh,
Yes.
Mr. Shi, now you got me confused. Mr. Romano,
Yeah.
President Peng.
Yes. Thank you. So
Carries.
we're not coming.
This is a record, 30 minutes.
Yes, we're
That
not coming
was a
back
record.
and see
Was
you
there a
next
poll?
Tuesday.
Wow.